Hello everybody, this is Tenacious Earl with another installment of the Tenacious Golf Tour, and this is actually the Slacker Tour. I haven't really put much of the Slacker Tour on our channel yet, but I'm going to try and do these final 3 tournaments so that, because there are some familiar faces from our other from the TGT, some guys, so I got to go through it. So this is the Central Florida Classic. It is at Ocean Knoll, which is the play name for Bay Hill, a relatively classic course on the PGA Tour. So anybody who has played a variety of different golf games would have played Bay Hill before on the computer or whatever, so I'm hoping that maybe there's some people that will recognize this. So we've hit the postseason for both of the tours, the Tenacious Tour and the Underling Slacker Tour. So how does this work? The top 125 on the Tenacious Tour points list will compete in the Tenacious Tour. That is pretty clear. So that event will be 125, or the Tenacious Playoff. It's 125 will be the first tournament, which I believe is the Colorado Classic. Colorado Playoff Classic. So that will happen. It's basically happening concurrently with the Slacker Central Florida Classic. Now, so how do we get who's playing in the Slacker Tour finals? So here's the trouble. We have the top 25 in the Slacker Tour regular season standings, which many of them end up featuring in the 125 for the Tenacious Tour. So I'm going to make a one-time exemption because of the way this tour went out. What we're going to do is we're going to take the 25 below that, and they're going to the top 25 below, or not including the ones who will, because anybody in the top 125 qualifies for the Tenacious Tour for the next season. So they already have their exemptions, the ones that are pretty common. Not to mention, part of the issue that has happened here with this tour season is that I got 164 cards in the Pro National Golf set. I chose 125 to start with that were on the Tenacious Tour. They weren't, we got all the ones in that, but there were some 2s, Bob Demelmeyer being 1, some 3s, some 4s. It wasn't just the best golfers that I took into Tenacious Tour. So this season has been one where we've been fleshing out which golfers were better and which ones were worse. And so what's going to happen is we've had a bunch of guys who qualified for the Tenacious Tour based on their Tenacious Tour points. That's great. Some of those guys played in a number of events on the Slacker Tour because that's where they had their card. Regardless of that, they will not perform. They will not compete in the Slacker Tour playoff or final, or whatever you want to call it, final 3 tournaments. Instead, we're just going to, so that the way that it works, well, let's talk about who's going to be in the final first. So we're going to take the top 100 from the Slacker Tour final point list. Some of those, like I said, are going to be on the Tenacious playoff, and so we're going to end up with 47 golfers that were in the top 100 that actually, so go ahead and figure that's 53 out of 125 are going to end up on the Tenacious Tour, of the guys that were down in Slacker Tour. So that's an interesting number. It's a lot, but it's okay because, like I said, this was a little bit of a strange experiment to start, and it's okay to have this kind of ridership. So then we take 126 to 200 from Tenacious Tour. So those guys don't make the Tenacious Cup playoffs. They will be allowed to compete in the Slacker Tour final. Okay, so, and then finally I'm gonna take I decided after the fact, which brings in another 18 golfers out of 25. I'm taking up to 125 from the Slacker Tour as well. So I was going to start with the top 100. I'm going to make it the top 125. So that ends up being approximately 137 golfers, give or take a couple. And that's where we're going to start with. And then I had thought the field was going to be 144, so this is about right. 137, that'll be good. And I think what we will do is we're going to have everybody play in all 3 events on the Slacker Tour. Now, this is where things are a little bit strange as well, because, again, the top 25 from the money order from the regular season would qualify. Okay, almost all of them qualified because they played some tour events. So, how does that work? We're going to take the top 25 who didn't qualify for that. And so then what happens is we reorder them. So those top 25, and then there's another 25 who are based on the tour final points. So we're going to get 50 out of that, and they're going to be somewhat exempt. So it's going to be the 125 and then another 50 out of the Slacker Tour regular season and the tour finals. We homogenize those all together. It's going to be 175 golfers, but we always have a rest schedule and stuff like that, so everybody will get their chance. Then everybody outside of that top 50 in these tournaments, everybody outside of the top 25 in the final points after these 3 finals. So from 25 up, there's 26 up to 75. They will get. Actually, we're going to make it 100. We're going to make it 26 up to 100. They will get their Slacker Tour card for the next season. And then everybody else, they're going to go into a qualifying tournament, as will anybody who did not make either of these playoffs. So there were some golfers from the Tenacious Tour. There are a bunch of non-exempts. They're going to get a chance to try to earn their Slacker Tour card for next season. And so we're going to do that. We're going to take the top. I have to look. I don't recall off the top of my head, but definitely the top 25, and it might be the top 50 out of that. It might only be top 25. I have to see. But so anyway, what we're going to start with here is the Central Florida Classic, and so that's where it was a bunch of guys who were in the top 125 in the Slacker Tour, plus the guys who missed the Tenacious Tour playoffs. So that's what we're going to start with here. We're going to do the cut rounds. We'll do the third round, and we'll get you ready for the final rounds, which will come up here in a little while. So we'll get going here with the cut rounds here just momentarily. Okay, so as you can see here, we have the Slacker final first. That'll be the set. Slacker Tour top 125 that aren't in the Tenacious Tour, and then over here we have the Tenacious Tour 126 to 200. And so I'm going to go ahead and mix them up some. So we're just going to take these guys and we're going to rustle them all up here. We're going to, again, split into 2 piles as we usually do. This could be interesting because we're going to have a lot of guys who were back markers. Normally, we aren't going to have some of the normal fellas like Mackay Berry, Mateo Soto, Bob Demelmeyer, C.J. Hope, Gooch Wilborg. They aren't going to be around. So, now, how do we determine who makes the Tenacious Tour out of this? So, again, the top 25 from the regular season. Now, what happens is that those guys will be reordered based on their final 3 Tour money list, and that's where are the final 3 tournaments, the money in these, and that will be they will be ranked and will get their tour card and priority based on that. So the guy who finishes first out of those golfers will be asked first to be in a tournament after the top 125. And so it kind of goes down the list, and you know, we just fill it out from there. That's how it's going to work from now on. So I don't know if I'm still going to use tournament ratings or if I'm going to try and develop my own tournament rating based on that priority list system. I'm highly considering that. Then the other, like I said, the other part of that will then be the 25 outside of those who are in that sort of already exempt bracket. The top 25 from these 3 that are not included in that will also, albeit lower on the priority list, they will also, although the one guy who will be the guy who outright wins the Slacker Tour final. So if somebody from the Tenacious Tour wins the 3, has the most points after the 3 events, then they would actually be rated first out of everybody. So that's the other way that works. Rated at first out of everybody that is going to be coming from the Slacker Tour based on their Slacker Tour ratings and whatnot. So just a little bit different than the way that we would normally do it. Again, part of that is that there's been so much interplay between the 2 tours, and the way I'm hoping to arrange it for next year is going to be that it will not, you aren't really going to have qualifiers so much anymore for you might have it for Slacker Tour events, but not for Tenacious Tour events, which will help. Alright, so we've got them all into a pile here. We've got around 137 golfers, and we're hoping to get 70. So we will cut it, and I'm going to recut it because that wasn't a very good cut. Still not a great cut, but we'll go ahead and do it here. Okay. Whoops. Got to do morning and afternoon, so that's my bad. So we'll take this as the morning. Okay. And I am just going to draw off the top when we have the... I'm just going to draw it off the top rather than do the D20 roll. Just save some time. So the first roll, I'm not using my other app, so I'm not going to be able to embed this. Where is my chart? There it is. I found it. And this does not seem particularly right there, so let's try and make sure these are somewhat even. Alright. So our first roll going to be 12. So that'll be draw 1 and the top 1 remaining. So we'll draw the top. It'll be Kason Wong. He will make the cut. The top 1 that remains, just going to go through it. 4C, 4B, 4A, Mike Keller. Ziggy Juno won't make the cut. Another 4A. So as you can see here, it's going to be the 4As, so we'll get 3 guys off the first pile. Next, 15, that will be top, draw 4, and then the top remaining golfer. So Bruno Cortez, Gage Valentine, Sean Dean, and Felipe Irwin. And then the top guy after that will be Dominic Jensen to 4A. $14, so that will be draw 3 off the top. Ariel Olson, Michael Graham, Jim Fasotke. There's a guy from the Tenacious Tour who has not, didn't have so much luck. Here's a bunch of guys from the Tenacious Tour. Dalton Solomon will be the one who makes the cut out of the rest of those. The rest are 4Bs, so they'll have to wait for the next tournament now. Pile 4. Another 15. So we'll draw 4 off the top. Carter Jacobs, Ian Osborne, Anthony Rivers, Kirk Redwine. And then the top one after that will be 3C Wyatt Sells. Okay, pile 5. 23, that'll be draw 1, top 2 left. So the top 1, Kelton Rubio. And then we got a 3C, 4As. Well, we got a bunch of 4As here. Dwayne Bradshaw, Kenny Hughes, Jeffrey Clark. They will join Roland Webster. All right, so 13, that'll be draw 2, top 1. Austin Montgomery, Dylan Reed, and then the top 1 after that. So there's Hal Marlowe, Hee Jin Tong, Jason Olinger. There's Cam Tullis, he takes over with a 4A, and Joel Barrera will also be a 4A. So those two. So 7. Another low roll, 13. That'll be draw 2. Sage Hess, Aditya Klein, and then the top 1 after that, Alec Nolan maybe, yes. So, and finally pile 8, 56. We're going to take the top 1, or draw 1, Gene Ewing, and then the top 5 after that. 4As probably will make it. There's a 3C, probably not a 4C, but you never know. Let's take a look. 4A, so there's 4. We need the top 5, so these 2 4Cs, Yair Santana and Nick Nackland, will also make the cut. Okay, so hey, we did that in 5 minutes, didn't we? Under 5 minutes for that particular sequence after doing the cutting. So now we'll do the afternoon. Okay, good enough. Don't want to get overly analytical about it here. Okay, so first pile of this one, 34, that'll be draw 1, outstanding. Waki Inoue gets to be the outstanding golfer this time, and then the top 3 after that. So it won't be Kester. 4A, 4C, another 4C. Anybody else? There's another 4A and a 4B that will knock out the 4Cs. Samson Peterson and Pranav Patel. So Kenneth Clayton, Brendan Singleton, Connor George, they make it. Second pile now. 46 will be draw 1 off the top. Barrett Rowland, and then the top 4 after that. There's a 4A, a second 4A, and then a couple 4Cs will also make it through. So Sebastian Sato and Royal Garibay not going to be so lucky this time. So Tatsuo Shano, Gerald Ashley, Frederick Rhodes, Pedro Nolan. Yes, that's why. Okay, so now pile 3. 14, we'll draw 3 off the top. Kareem Klein, Samuel McGee, Bobby Maddox, and then the top 1. Looks like August Jarvis is the only one. Pile 4. 22, top 2 golfers only. So Zach Cameron won't make it. There's Josiah and Shane Smith, Abdiel Nichols, all 4As. And there's another 4A, so the 4B of Elliott Strong won't make it. So Hector Norris, Abdiel Nichols, Shane Smith, Josiah Jacobs make the cut. Pile 5. 24, that's 2 and 2. So Damari Arias, Sheridan Cook Jr. A 5C makes it. So 4A and 2 4Bs. So Lefty Meadows, Glenn Frassard, and Randy Marsh, and Phil Brandon, case holder Jermaine Young miss out. Pile 6. Another 24. Dewey Sow, Trevor Norman, they make it, and then 2 top. Okay, well, we've got a 4C and a 5A, and that's it. So McCown, Spence, Watanabe, and Dunn miss. We get Kevin Percival and Adrian Hyde making the cut. Pile 7. 34, we draw 1. Another outstanding golfer it will be, Peter Ladas. And then the top 3 after that. We got, let's see, a 4C maybe. Let's see, 4B, yes. A 4A. What else do we have here? Another 4B, that'll knock Greg Millwood out. Double check here. The only 4 is a 4C that won't make it. Tyler Gentry, Justice Kramer, Christopher Heath make the cut. Finally, pile 8. 46, that will be draw 1. Krish Lamb, and it'll be the top 4 after that. So Bellano, a 4A, is going to make it. 4B is going to make it for sure. Another 4A, Angus Ingram, Freddie McCoy. There's Cade Lyons. And I think that's it. We wanted the top 4, and we got that. A couple 4Cs are not going to be able to do it there. So that's our cut round. So we have, I don't know how many we have that made the cut, but I'm going to go ahead and reset here and try and set up my, setting up the leaderboard. So we'll be right back after I take a little break to adjust things. Okay, so we are set up here for the 3rd round action. Waukee and Peter Ladas, Waukee Inoue, Peter Ladas are outstanding, so they get their own pile, and the rest of these guys will be, I'm going to shuffle them up a little bit. So, and then we will do our normal progression where we just keep rolling again and set up our leaderboard. So These were already shuffled before, but I like to try and give it a little more. Make sure we got those guys out of there. Just try and simulate that we get these things shuffled as best we can. So yeah, I mean this second tour, I haven't shown any of it on the channel, but it's interesting. The cut rounds are interesting because you end up with a lot of similar rankings. So it creates a little more parity, which is what I would kind of like from the TGT, and that's why I want to try and adjust some of my... I want to try and maybe cook up a different rule package for some of this. A little different way to rate and compare, and because I don't want to just do a straight old everybody gets drawn out. That just seems way too random. But I also feel like there's not enough randomness for a fictional tour. So, okay, so we're going to do 7. So the way we do that is we divide into 8, and then I take the smallest pile and divide it up amongst the other smaller piles that are left, because it's really tough to get exact cuts here when we do this. So, and I think this one seems like the lowest, so we're going to put one here. This one looks a little low. This one does. Put another one there. Okay. So we're ready to go. And where is my decider die? There you are. We will probably need that again in the lower tour here. There's some parity. There's a lot of similar rankings. So we'll take this one first, and we're going to do 26. So 26 is going to be draw. Contends with A-. We're going to take the top card, and it's going to be Cameron Tullis. Contends with A-. And others finish with B-. So we got a bunch of guys in here: Frassard, Jarvis, Anthony Rivers, Jeffrey Clark, Gage Valentine, Carlos Saunders, Roger Bellino, Kenny Hughes, Yair Santana, Kason Wong, Bruno Cortez. Finish it B-. So now, number 2, and Tullis does not get a perk or issue. So 56. 56. Draw golfer contends with A-. Others finish with D. So top card is Lefty Meadows. He will also be at A-, and then everybody else finishes at D. So Shano, Sao, Dean, Norman, Pedro Nolan, Joel Barrera, Dominic Jensen, Justice Kramer. Pile number 3, 26. Another one of these. We're going to get a second draw golfer, then B-. It's going to be Christopher Heath. And then everybody else: Josiah, Frederick, Cade, Gerald, Sage Hess, Connor George, Felipe Irwin, Tyler Gentry, Chris Lamb will be at B-. 55. All golfers contend with B. So this whole pile: Percival, Sells, Bradshaw, Kirk Redwine, Bobby Maddox, Lewis Choi, Angus Ingram, Nick Macklin. So they may come into it because we don't have that many that have carded out in the upper ranges yet. So pile 5, there's 66. Top golfer contends with B+. Low finishes with D-. So who's the top? Riley Sherrill. There's Carter Jacobs. In this case, it'll be everybody with... Okay, so it's not going to be them. It'll be these two 3Cs. It'll be Alec Nolan and Aditya Klein. The low golfer is... there's a tie for 5C. It's going to be Sheridan Cook Jr., Ian Osborne. They're both going to finish at D-. And then the rest of these guys will be finish with C. So right here. So B+, they'll both go to B+ because that's the way that this works when we have, I mean, we could roll the decider die, but that's kind of, so 12, the top golfer will be A+. Others will finish with B- again. So is Barrett Rowland the top golfer at C, 3C? And he is. A lot of 4As, but no more 3Cs. So Barrett Rowland, and we have not gotten any perks or issues. Barrett Rowland, or Dalton Solomon ends up in the B- pile. So here is pile 7, 15. Okay, draw golfer contends with A. That's Dylan Reed. That he will get a perk. And then the top golfer finishes or contends with A-. Roland Webster's a 3C. Is he the only 3C in this pile? And he is. So everybody else is a 4. So Roland Webster. So then the rest of them finish with C-. So A- with him. And so we've got these two guys here. Inouye, Ladas. 25, draw golfer contends with A. And so I'm going to take the top guy, it's Inouye. And he will get a perk. Draw golfer contends with A. Top golfer A-. So Peter Ladas is the only guy left, so he is top golfer left at that. And then everybody else would go to C, but there is nobody else. So what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That means we need 4. We have these two, 9, 10. And then we've got a bunch here that we will have to parse out and figure out who is going to be in the... Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to... Well, no, I'll pick 12. So we'll be right back after I reset a little bit here. Okay, so this is actually a first for me where we're going to have to wade into B to get enough golfers to fill out the scorecard. So Barrett Rowland... So the way we figure this out is on my target score. I figure out the target score for my tournaments. Since we don't really have... I'm not using real world models. So instead I just take 5 D6s and add them together to get the minus, in this case 14, which is a 274 is the target score. So when you go over here to this chart, it tells you 273 to 277. You find this column where your score, target score is found, and then it gives you the... So for instance, it's either minus 11 or minus 10 based on this is a par 70. Wait a second. Based on a par 72 course, Bay Hill is 216 is your even par score after 3 rounds. So 205 is a minus 11. So Barrett Rowland, we're either gonna, with a decider die, yes, he goes to minus 11. He'll be at minus 10 if it's a no. It's a yes, so he should have a 2-stroke lead. At the very least, Dylan Reed, he will be at minus 9, so that will be the 2-stroke lead for sure. Waki Inouye, he'll join Reed there. Okay, so now we go to the A-minuses, which would be at 7 and 6. Cam Tullis will go to minus 7. Lefty Meadows minus 6. Everybody's hit the dot so far. I mean, he's at -7 as well. My bad. Christopher Heath there is -6. Roland Webster, -6. Peter Ladas, -7. Now, Alec Nolan will go to -5 or -4. -5. Aditya Klein, -4. Okay, so now we have the B pile. And we got quite a few in here, but we're going to go ahead and roll them out each. And what I can do is I can move some stuff over a little bit. So what we'll do is we'll take Kevin Percival first. He'll be yes, so we'll put him up at -3. Wyatt Sells, he's a yes. Dwayne Bradshaw, also, you can't see it there, but that is a yes. A no for Kirk Redwine. Bad luck there for him. Bobby Maddox, yes. Louis Choi, another yes. We're going to get a lot of yeses here. Yes for Ingram. Boy, the decider die is yes heavy tonight. Another yes. Nick Macklin. And finally, Damari Arias. Well, there's a no. All right, so these guys are going to be finished. We need 2 out of this pile, so let's I'm going to shuffle them up here the best I can, and I'm going to roll a d6. Let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6. There's 7. Phooey. Let's re-roll again with the decider die. Angus Ingram, -2. Nope. Dwayne Bradshaw, -3. Louis Choi, -2. Bobby Maddox, -3. Wyatt Sells, -3. I messed up. So we're already going to have too many. Nick Macklin, -3. Kevin Percival, -3. Okay, so we're starting to whittle. We keep whittling it down a little bit by little bit. We still have 5. We need 2. We'll go Percival, yes. Nick Macklin, no. Bobby Maddox, yes. Wyatt Sells, no. Can't see it, but it's a no. Dwayne Bradshaw, a yes. We're down to 3. Now we just need to figure out here. Let's go with Bradshaw, yes. Maddox, it's a no. Percival, there's a yes. So there's our 2 guys. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. Okay, so that's our leaderboard for the Central Florida Classic at Ocean Knoll. Be right back with a couple of rolls for some tournament perk or issues. So this is the leaderboard going into the final round. Here are your pairings. And now I just need to do the, well, let's do the conditions first. I need to get my game book. This is going to be in Florida, so this is basically tropical climates here in August. Let's see, I guess we would call this humid subtropical, right? Could be, they say tropical or island is South America, Indonesia, or equator. I guess that's not quite far enough. So we're in August, humid subtropical, 24. That will not be anything different. Okay, so now we will roll white, black, and green. Reed will be 3 and 2. He's going to have Stormy. Reed is Stormy. And now, who is the other one? Inoue. 3 and 5. So 3 and 5. If par or better, he's going to be Sunny. So I'll mark this down. Okay, so that's going to be it for this. Be right back here just to close it out. All right, so Barrett Rowland will have a 2-shot lead going into the final round over Dylan Reed and Waki Inoue. Thanks for checking out this video. Probably play the final round live on the channel later this week. Excuse me. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you soon here on Tenacious Golf Tour on the Tabletop Baseball Plus channel. Thanks a lot for watching.